or welcome if you're just joining us. This is the France 24 debate. We're looking at the situation in Tripoli. We have, let's see, a prime minister who's been ousted, a tanker that was loaded with oil in a rebel-held port and that is since set sail for Egyptian waters. And more broadly, the question we've been putting, can Libya keep it together 2.5 years after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi? With us to talk about it from Tripoli, Waheed Burshan, former member of the Gharyan Council in Washington, D.C., Karim Mezran, who is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, Sam Najjair is a former Libyan rebel fighter. He's in Dublin. He's the author of Soldier for a Summer. And France 24 senior correspondent Matthieu Mabin, who witnessed the fall of Muammar Gaddafi, is back with us. You witnessed, of course, the fight for the takeover of the presidential palace in Tripoli. In fact, you didn't just witness it, you filmed it up close. These are your images.
Yes, I just wanted to answer one of our guests who was wishing a United States of Libya. How do you say, wishful thinking? We were in Tripoli for the fall of Tripoli. This is absolutely true. Different groups of the rebellion were gathering there to free the capital. But just after Tripoli fall, they went back to their cities. People from Misrata get back to Misrata with statues of Gaddafi. The people from Zintan went back to Zintan after they captured Gaddafi's son, and they took Gaddafi's son to Zintan, not in Tripoli. It would be very difficult today for any government in Tripoli to give order to people from Zintan, and we witness this every day. The Libyan oil is definitely not under control of the government, and the Libyan oil is the only way for Libya to develop and to build itself as a united country. So Sam Najjair was just saying that 3 years is nothing in the history of Libya. This is true. The revolution is very recent. 3 years is nothing. Everything must be rebuilt in Libya. It will take time. And we must not forget that a few months after Tripoli fall, Libyan people were able to organize elections, general elections, and a parliament appeared with a huge representation of women, which is a great hope. We must not forget this. So Libyan can do something for sure with time.
Let's turn back the clock and put one of our other guests on the spot. This was back then Sam Najjair speaking to Matthieu Mabin.
It's had its ups and its downs, and hopefully when it's finished, we'll look back on all this, and I just want everything to be revealed. Why people like me, why we left to do this great work, this great job, why we felt that the burden was on our shoulders to do it.
He's back in Dublin now. Sam Najjair, regrets?
No regrets whatsoever. Still, the hairs on my arm still raise when I think about those times. They're a really amazing, unique time in history, and of course, no regrets. Still a lot of optimism for the future. After studying, my Irish side of the family and Irish history, and even you in France, you will know this too. It's only natural for the proceedings to take time, and like a child learning how to walk, we will bump and fall and bump our knees and our head, but we will learn every time. And I think once that we are progressing in the correct manner, not like Egypt next door, for example, which I don't agree with. Once we continue on the road that we are journeying on of democracy, hopefully we will get there in time. I have a lot of faith in the Libyan people. With that, there is obviously some dangers that we must be very careful of, and that is, of course, these taking in taking in like something that was overshadowed completely by the events was that the Amazigh people have been they've been recognized in the constitution. This is a huge step, just as strong as the step as Matthieu Mabin has explained about the women in Congress. So we are starting to include every element of the society, and more people will begin to trust more. You see, because Francois, after 42 years of having no say, it becomes something automatic in you to try and grab and take and secure as much as you can for as quick as you can. But hopefully this mentality will change over time, and people will learn, the people of Barga, or the people of all of the east, the west, all parts of Libya will learn that we can all benefit from Libya. There's enough in Libya for us all to flourish and all to benefit equally.
All right. The glass definitely half full there. I want to welcome a late arrival, Céline Bardet. Thank you for joining us. I know you're straight off a train from Brussels. Céline Bardet, attorney and the author of the upcoming book, A Woman's War. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to rebound off what Sam just said with Waheed Burshan. Waheed, are Libyans more patient than they seem?
I think they are, but I must say, I'm sorry, allow me, Francois, to respond that Libya is not a wishful thinking. Libya is united, is a nation. We have martyred under the one flag and united Libya. So please, do not lecture us about united Libya. We're Libyans, we know what Libya is, and God willing, we'll be united.
You say you're united. You say you're a united Libya. Let's talk about a man who's really at the center of this all right now. He's a 33-year-old former anti-Gaddafi militia leader. His name is Ibrahim Mezran. Reportedly, on Monday evening, he mocked the Ali Zeidan, the Prime Minister, by going on a local television, standing on that ship, the one that sailed towards Egypt, insisting his forces were still in control of the tanker. Mezran, who in the past has pointed the finger at both Tripoli, which he says siphons all the money from that's due for the other regions, and also pointed the finger at the Muslim Brotherhood.
Why did we stop the oil? Because the idea of oil money terrifies the citizens of Libya. Who is supporting the militias who are committing assassinations in Benghazi and Dana? The Muslim Brotherhood. And where does the Muslim Brotherhood's financial support come from? Oil money. We're therefore cutting the source which would otherwise strengthen the militias.
Waheed Burshan, when you hear what is being said, are these the legitimate demands of a local leader, or is this a rebel?
Well, he's definitely no local leader. And as far as the issues that he's being brought up to bear here, these are some of the local, regional struggles that we are experiencing in Libya. What happens with that, what happened in Egypt and what happened in the Gulf states, and the fact that they're exporting their issues and their problems in our political scene locally is what triggers this. I mean, Mr. Mezran, I don't know what experience did he have with the Muslim Brotherhood to see, or what information did he have, or what kind of intelligence did he get to tell him that the Muslim Brotherhood are doing this and that. These issues are being exported from the issues that we have in Egypt. It's clearly the Gulf states have issues with a lot of the Arab Springs, and they're trying to put it on track and sidetrack it and try to not to.
Are you suggesting that it's people from abroad that are feeding him his lines?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's a local a thug, as far as I'm concerned. He is trying to find issues to please other local, regional countries to gain some support. I mean, he addressed the United States. He addressed, some of the issues that I'm sure the Egyptians will be pleased to hear him speak about the Muslim Brotherhood. In Libya, we don't have these issues. Libya are for Libyans. We are united. Some of the political, the regional issues is being brought to bear, trying to Libyanize our situations. But God willing, with the new government and understanding this kind of complexities, we will face up to those issues and we'll solve them.
Karim Mezran, do you agree or do you disagree with what you just heard?
Big deal out of a gangster, out of an attempt to grab oil. If you remember, he took the fields and then he gave himself a facade of respectability by defining himself fighting for federalism, fighting for the poor people in Cyrenaica, etc. He does not represent Cyrenaica. Cyrenaica does not exist. He does not represent the federalist movement. There has been important polls reiterated during the whole year that shows that the issue of federalism and regionalism is very unpopular all over the country. He's just claiming this facade because somebody told him, and I agree with the previous speaker, that somebody from outside told him that if he could hire lobbyists or if he could get the recognition of one country, he would be able to sell oil and then become wealthy and then become the leader of a state. That's what the delusional kind of people he is. And I'm sure that if the new government can muster enough forces and enough legitimacy to move against him, his own support will melt like snow under the sun.
All right, a lot of reactions again coming in from viewers. Now that they've ousted Zeidan after only 100 attempts or so, what will the General National Congress do with all their free time? Poor Libya. Céline, Bardet, let me ask you. Obviously, he's not talking about independence, Ibrahim Jathran. He's simply saying he'd like to go back to before 1963, when there was a federal system inside of Libya, and Cyrenaica had its own kind of autonomy. It was under a federal system, something akin, I guess, to the conversation we're seeing in Iraq in terms of maybe more federalism.
No, but
Libya Céline, let me get Céline Bardet on this first.
Okay, sorry. Well, I'm not an expert of history of Libya, but definitely the point and the discussion at the moment is exactly this. What Libya is going to be in terms of a system. And when I hear, I'm glad to hear that saying we are all Libyan and we are united, but obviously it's not the case, and there are lots of discussion. There was lots of discussion on the 6th of March during the conference, and I don't know what we mean by legitimacy of government. I think there is a situation, obviously, where government cannot control security. There is no rule of law system. The police is not working. And I'm working for international community. We are in discussion now trying to see how we can help Libya, but that's extremely complicated. So I don't know. I cannot answer, if Libya should be coming back to a federal system. I don't know.
All right. We have one reaction from a viewer saying, Matthieu Mabin is right. Don't let this go to your head. Libyan oil is surely not controlled by the government. He's right about that. Oil production has effectively been shut down. In fact, the only oil coming out of Libya the past 8 months is coming from the west of the country. There you see the figures on that plummeting oil production. First the dip, obviously, when there was the fall of Gaddafi, and now the dip that's been happening the last 8 months, going rockily back and forth. Going forth, Waheed Burshan, what would you say to having a more federal type system?
No, I think we cannot go backward. I think Libya is united. I think the issue is local governance, and I think Zeidan was really going through that. There was a lot of elections. And I must say, for the doubters about Libya, I think we just experienced a peaceful transition. I think that's extremely positive. I mean, the fact that Prime Minister was changed, and there was another Prime Minister sworn in.
But that's in Tripoli. We see this tense standoff taking place in Sirte. We see those 3 eastern ports that are under the control of Ibrahim Jathran. That's not a peaceful transition.
No. I think what you see in Sirte has nothing to do with the transition of government. You didn't see rebels hitting or going to the capital trying to do any change. What happened in Sirte, very simply, that's the thing about what's happened in the situation in Libya. Small issues become so magnified as, it may impact the state or the integrity of the state. That's not the case. It's a local issues. It's some militias had, coming and tackling some base, and that was it. It was not east-west. It's a fallacy. It's a false. There's no troops that's going eastward trying to free the east or into the south. I think the new government today, with the new prime minister, is. Thank God, he's approaching it very calmly. He says we'll address whatever local issues may be. If it's a matter of funding, it's a matter of governance, a matter of daily happenings, we will take care of it. So there's no one marching to east. And I think the one thing I think the new prime minister said, if I understood him correctly today, is that no oil, not even the Libyan oil, will be worth a drop of blood of a Libyan. I think that's understood, and I think the fact that a ship or two ships gone, and then we're going to go fight the east because of that's nonsense. I think what's happening, we are very embarrassed, we're very angry that the integrity of the state is being trampled on. We're not happy with it. Yesterday was a bad day for all of us. We didn't like the idea that even a prime minister been ousted to take on a plane and flee the country. That's not a very good feeling. I think, however, the transition is smooth. The state is still together. People have differences. We have issues, but we can sort them out. We have ways to sort them out.
All right, lots of questions coming in.
Flag.
Lots of questions coming in from viewers on Facebook. George asking, does France have any regret for supporting the then rebels who overthrew the regime of Gaddafi? What are your predictions for Libya in 20 years? Well, George, we can roll back the clock to August 2011, the French president saluting his decision to strike first when Gaddafi was marching on Benghazi.
For the first time, the Europeans have proved that they've been able to intervene in a decisive way in a conflict happening on their doorstep. Because Libya, it is the Mediterranean region. And the Mediterranean region is first the business of the Europeans before being the business of the Americans.
Sam Najjair, when you see the situation now, is Europe been up to the task?
I just want to quickly just brush on a point that you were asking about federalism and is Libya ready for federalism. I just quickly want to say on that point that Libya, what I seen when Tripoli collapsed and we basically, as we were just normal men, we were put into these extraordinary circumstances where we were literally, the country was under us. What I realized is that we did not inherit anything from the Gaddafi regime that was in any way working or like a clock in any way. Everything inherited was rotten to the core. Corruption was used on every level of office, and so to try and let alone try and work with what we have and try and make do with what we have. There are people that are actually thinking about starting a whole new system, a whole new way to run the country under a federal system, which I think is just political suicide because Libya is not ready for it. Instead of what I think will happen then, instead of one, because when we see a weak government, the first effect of a weak government is corruption. Corruption runs rife and nothing can stop it because there's no way, because the government is weak. Can you imagine 3 governments and 3 sets of corruption delving into the Libyan budget and so federalism I don't think is on the cards for Libya at the moment. And then on the other hand, we must think about who is championing these federalists at the moment. Like the faces that I see are some of the faces that worked directly with Gaddafi through his whole tenure. And so you have they don't even have the right leadership. And so federalism for Libya I don't think is the right path. United we stand, and we will stand by each other. It is just basically a matter of time. And as for the future, Libya, we will always be very optimistic without being too naive, and try and take the steps in the right direction from an early stage. If we build a good, strong foundation, we can build upon that. Resources, we have them. A young, vibrant workforce that has everything ahead of them, we have it. So I believe in our human resources, in the Libyan people, and our future, please God, yeah.
Céline, Bardet, though, could Europe be doing more?
No, yeah, well, I wanted to react first. Of course, we can ask ourselves, was it right to intervene and everything? I think for the Libyan, I mean, please, when we're talking about the Gaddafi regime, I'm not saying it was right to intervene, but I'm very happy that it's out, and I think everybody is, because related to what was just said, I was reading that there was an opinion poll saying that 2/3 of Libyans are very optimistic. I think, yeah, definitely Libyan, they have lots of hope. The other thing I wanted to say that was mentioned, and it's working for all situation of post-conflict country, it takes time. And, in my job, and I always say that, I always repeat that, but we cannot expect things to go smoothly and everything is great, and especially for Libya, because where in the world?
But you're saying this the day after a tanker made off with $36 million worth of oil.
Right. No, but I'm not saying, no. And then for that, I wanted to say, maybe, we talk about, said no federalism, no government. Okay, what the government is doing? I know it's difficult, but maybe they should think about trying to accept more cooperation, to accept the help of international community, because, be it European Union, be it the UN, there are lots of people who are trying to help because they need support we hear about good governance and everything. And so is it, a sincere message from them? I don't think so. And how to resolve these local issues, I don't know, but they have to, and it will take time, but they have to accept help also. And maybe they don't.
All right. We have a lot of comments coming in, including one from Wolfram saying, talking about a new civil war in Libya is exaggerated. And we mentioned at the outset that there's been so much political gridlock in Tripoli over the past 18 months. One man who's already offered to help is the leader of Tunisia's Islamist Ennahda movement, Rachid Ghannouchi, who struck a deal in that neighboring country that led to the drafting of a constitution there recently. He says he told a Turkish news agency that there are initial contacts with the Libyan leaders in order to contribute to bringing them together for a national dialogue that leads to an agreement. Karim, Mezran, what do you think of that?
I think that instead of focusing on the ship who lives with $36 million and stuff, why don't we talk about the national dialogue that has taken place? It is working in Libya. The first phase has been done and undertaken very well. There is a second phase of the national dialogue that is the preparatory commission meeting people around the cities in Libya. They had a great meeting in Tobruk. They had a fantastic meeting in Derna. I'm talking about Derna, where everybody thinks that there is no security, no government present. Lots of people participated in the preparatory commission work. They interacted. They developed a common questionnaire, and then now they're going to move into all other cities. There is a national dialogue project that is moving, and that is a very positive fact. And it is the most important thing from a political point of view that can happen in Libya, because the people are participating to the construction of a national dialogue. It starts from the local entities. So it is not bottom up, and that's the way to go. Respect for decentralization, respect for local realities, yes. Talking about federalism, which means the region that do not exist, because nobody is a Cyrenaican, a Fezzanese, or a Tripolitanian. These are historical constructions that meant even little in the time of the monarchy. So much so that they were abolished immediately 10 years after independence. Let's talk about the real issue. Let's talk about how to construct the country, and let's not give too much importance to
when the head of
action.
Ennahda from neighboring Tunisia, the Islamist movement, offers his help, what do you say?
I say yes. We need the help of everybody. We need the international community. I was a member of the Libyan delegation at the Rome conference a few days ago, and even though the Libyan delegation came quite divided, the show of support and strength from the international community, the words that came out stating the fact that the international community, including the Arab countries and the neighboring countries, will not stand for a derailment of the transition process. It's a major support, a major show of support from the international community. We need the help of the mediators. We need the help of technical help. We need the help of every country that's out. But let's stop being so defeatism, talking about defeat all the right because of these issues. Libya is going to be built. It takes time, but it has to. There are steps that have been undertaken which are correct. The national dialogue is one, and we should support the work of the Commission on the National Dialogue as much as possible. The new government has to endorse it. We're going to have elections before the summer, and the new parliament will have the legitimacy to approve and to support the drafting of the constitution and of the National Dialogue Charter. These are the important steps. That's where the international community should focus and should concentrate. The issue of security is a political issue. It's not a military issue. We have to stop thinking in terms of military issue. There's no military solution to Libya. It's a political solution.
A political solution, and of course, disarming eventually of those militias. I want to thank very much Karim Mezran for joining us from Washington, Waheed Burshan in Tripoli, Sam Najjair in Dublin, Matthieu Mabin, and Céline Bardet. Thank you. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate.
Thank you very much.